Good day, everyone. We are the Group 3, and here are the reporters for the Lesson 4 Emotional Self Achieving Emotional Competencies. Brant Joseph Estrada, JV Galliano, Gerald Guerra, Adrian Jan Lacrite, and Angel May Locsin.
Introductions. Why do we have emotions? Can't we just be happy all the time? Why do I need to and control my emotions? These are the questions this module would most likely to answer. In this module, you shall be introduced to fundamental emotion by Plutchik and universal emotions by Ekman and Keltner, and how to manage emotion as compiled by Sue Langley. Learning outcomes. At the end of this topic, we were able to discuss the different emotions, identify the physiological reaction to emotions, enumerate ways of controlling and managing emotions, and conduct yourself effectively in different situations which concern emotions management. Emotion is often defined as a complex state of feelings that results in physical and psychological changes that influence thoughts and behavior, according to Cherry 2020. Also, according to Mayer et al., emotion as an integrated feeling state involving physiological changes. For example, increase or decrease in heart rate, cutaneous blood flow, blushing or turning pale, pillow erection, sweating, gastrointestinal motility can all accompany various emotions. And motor preparedness, cognition about actions, and inner experience that emerges from appraisal of the self situations. There are numerous kinds of emotions. Some are already identified or given names. Others are, however, specific to certain groups and or cultures, which bring us to the emotions which are more likely experienced across cultures all over the world. There are 8 primary emotions. You are born with these emotions wired into your brain. That wiring causes your body to react in a certain ways and for you to have certain urges when the emotion arises. Here are the list of primary 8 emotions: anger, sadness, fear, joy, interest, surprise, disgust, and shame. There are other emotions that made up by combining these 8 basic emotions. Sometimes we have secondary emotions, an emotional reaction to emotions. We learn these. Some examples are: you're feeling ashamed when you get angry. Feeling angry when you have shame response. For example, your feeling is hurt. Feeling fear when you get angry. When we have a second emotion, the key is to figure what is the primary emotions. The feeling at the root of the reaction is so that we can take an action that can be helpful. What if we don't have an emotions? Having no emotions means having no reactions, because emotions are the reaction to the stimulus. No emotions means no reactions to others. Then emotions are very important part of our life. Overly emotionally is problem. We can even justify our behaviors without emotions like angry, cry, and love.
1.2 Fundamental Emotions. Here are the guide questions for discussion. Is there a set of fundamental emotions? Are emotions the same across cultures? Robert Plutchik created the emotional wheel in 1980. As you can see in the right side of the presentation, that is Plutchik's wheel of emotions. According to him, there are 8 fundamental emotions: joy, trust, fear, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger, and anticipation. The joy, which is the color yellow, is the polar opposite of sadness, which is the color green. Fear is the polar opposite of anger. Anticipation is the polar opposite of surprise. Disgust is the polar opposite of trust. These fundamental emotions, or the core emotions, can create other related emotions depending to its degree of intensity. The first one is the combination of feelings. The emotions with no color represent an emotion that is mix of two primary emotions. Amo na siya ang sa center sang every color. For example, anticipation and joy combine to be optimism. Anger and anticipation combine to be aggressiveness. Joy and trust combine to be love. Trust and fear combine to be submission. Fear and surprise combine to be awe. Surprise and sadness combine to be disapproval. Sadness and disgust combine to be remorse. The disgust and anger combine to be contempt. Number two, intensity of emotion. These are the vertical dimension of the cone signifies intensity. Emotion become more intense as they progress from the outside of the center of the wheel. So, ang ginamina ni is the darker of the shade is the more intense of emotions. For example is anger at its least level of intensity is annoyance and at its highest level of intensity is rage. According to Robert Piltchik, he used these two and three-dimensional feeling for us to show the relationship of the eight primary emotions. Thank you.
Research comparing facial expression across different cultures has supported the theory that there are seven universal emotions. So, what are those emotions? How many emotions are there? While there are differing views among experts, most emotion scientists agree that there are at least five core emotions, but Dr. Ekman's research shows the strongest evidence to date of seven universal expressions of emotions. This includes happiness, surprise, sadness, fright, disgust, contempt, and anger. First is happiness. Is for many the most desirable of the seven universal emotions, typically arising from connection of sensory pleasure. The word happiness and enjoyment can be interchanged, although increasingly people use the word happiness to refer the overall sense of well-being or evaluation of lives rather than particular enjoyment. Recognizing the facial expression of happiness, this is the eyes are narrowed and there are some of wrinkling around the eyes. Cheeks are raised, lips are pulled back, and teeth are exposed in smile. Next is the surprise. Surprise emotion arises when we encounter sudden unexpected sounds or movement. As the brief pass of universal emotions, it functions to focus the attention on determining what is happening, whether or not it is dangerous. What us makes surprise? The universal triggers for surprise are sudden and unexpected nga mga nagakatabo. Recognizing the facial expression of surprise, eyebrows raised but not drawn together, upper eyelids raised, lower eyelids neutral, and the jaw dropped down. Kis aga ka kung confused kita sa fear and surprise kay daw parehos gawa ang ilang facial expression because they are shown in same case features like ang eyebrows, eyes, and mouth. In surprise, the eyebrows are raised but show more curve than seen in fear. The upper eyelid and jaws are also more relaxed and expressing surprise. Next is sadness is experienced by everyone. Sadness is often considered as negative emotion. It serves an important role in signaling need to receive help and comfort. Recognizing the face of sadness, the inner corner of the eyebrows are pulled together, upper eyelid drop and eye looking down. Third, lip corner pulled downward. Next is fright or fear. Fear arises the threat of harm, either physical, emotional, or psychological, real or image. While traditionally considered a negative emotion man siya present sadness. Fear actually serves as important role in keeping us safe as it mobilizes us to cope with potential danger. Recognizing the face of fear, First, the eyebrows raised, pulled together. Raised upper eyelids, tense lower eyelids, jaw drop open and lips stretch horizontally backward. Same sa ginmention ko earlier, sa surprise, may similarity sila. Pero ang mas halata gidya nga kinalain ang sa lips, its are more tense and stretched in fear but more open and slack naman sa surprise. Next is disgust. Arises as a feeling of aversion or sa mga di tabla gusto towards something offensive. We can feel disgusted by something we perceive with our physical senses like sight, smell, touch, sound, taste, by the action or appearance of people, and even by ideas. The face of disgust include lower eyebrows, wrinkling on the side and bridge of the nose. Upper lip is raised in an inverted U, lower lip raised and slightly protruding. Next is contempt. The least research of the seven universal emotions, contempt is the feeling of dislike for a superiority, usually morally, over another person, group, or in their actions. Feeling of contempt, may basic notion ni ang contempt nga I'm better than you and you are lesser than me. Do may superiority bala. Recognizing the face of contempt, its tightened and raised lip corner on the right side of the face. Contempt is only expression. It can occur with or without the hint of a smile or anger or expression. Next is anger. What is anger? Anger can be one of the most dangerous emotions because its potential connection to violence and therefore is common emotion to seek help in dealing with. Kung akig takis-an yung makita man sa expression ta, which is ang atong expression, eyebrows are pulled down and together, eyes open wide, staring hard, lips pressed tightly together. So in other words, all these emotions prepare us to deal with important events without having to think about them. These emotion responses are unbidden occurrence, meaning that we don't choose to feel them, they just happen to us automatically. Of all the human emotion we experience, there are seven universal emotions that we all feel.
So 1.3 Emotion management strategies, also known as emotion regulation, is a term generally used to describe a person's ability to effectively manage and respond to an emotional experience. People unconsciously use emotion regulation strategies to cope with difficult situations many times throughout each day. So, a guide question for this discussion is, what are the best ways to manage emotions? The following are tips and strategies compiled by Sua Langley for managing emotions and tapping into our body and brain's capacity for generating positive mood.
First, you should smile to make yourself feel good. Example, find a mirror. Make it fun. It doesn't feel right to start with. You will soon be laugh at yourself and feel better naturally. The muscle we use to smile will tell our brains we are happy. So do it at least for 30 seconds. Then, don't forget to smile to make others feel good. Create that connection, open communication. Trigger those mirror brain cells that make us experience empathy for others. And you should get up and move. Exercise activates happy hormones, endorphin, dopamine, and serotonin and oxytocin. Movement is important for our lymphatic system to get the toxins out of our body. Get up and do your exercise, but you should check in with your body. Take note that we are the holding tensions and your overall physiology. Relate these tensions and changes to the emotions that we are feeling to begin to understand where how different emotions affect you. Organ Dialect by Elder 1956. The body organs speak the language which is more expressive and discloses the individual's opinion more clearly than words are able to do. At times, our emotions affect our bodily functions too. Physically remove the tension. If you feel tense in your arms, shake your arms. If you feel tight in your chest, stretch and expand. Or breathe deeply.
Next is to breathe. Take 6 deep diaphragmatic breaths. Our body cannot sustain anger through deep breathing. Let the lower lungs have that oxygen to pass around your body and brain. This will calm you and flood you with oxygen. You may feel tingly. Do it for at least 60 seconds. So here are some emotional benefits of breath meditation. First, it reduces stress levels in your body. Second, it reduces depression, and last, better regulate your body's reaction to stress and fatigue. Next is talk to someone. Express your feelings to begin to resolve the situation. Vent to a friend or colleague rather than suppress your emotions. You can also see a therapist for you to express your emotions to. Make sure that the person you share your feelings to are also ready and available to listen. Talking to someone you trust about something upsetting may help you to sort through the problem, see the situation more clearly, look at the problem in a new different way, and release built-up tension. This can help you to gain new insight into the situation that is causing the problem. Next is disengage and re-engage emotions. Park a challenging emotion to deal with later rather than just avoiding it. Acknowledge and accept the feelings whenever you are ready and use your experience and emotional intelligence with dealing these emotions. For example, you are good at writing speeches and was chosen to represent your class in a contest, but because you have stage fright, you declined the offer. Rather than just avoiding your fear completely, you can instead plan on how you to deal with it later. Overcoming our fears and insecurities are what makes us grow as a person. Next is label your emotions. Labeling is proven to reduce the intensity. Just by saying, I feel angry, you actually feel less angry. Research points to when people don't acknowledge and address their emotions, they display lower well-being and more physical symptoms of stress. Having the right vocabulary allows us to see the real issue at hand. This allows us to take a messy experience, understand it more clearly, and build a roadmap to address the problem. Last is label emotions for others. Labeling is proven to reduce intensity. Just by saying, I feel angry, you actually feel less angry. We can often disarm an emotionally charged situation by acknowledging what people are feeling. This encourages others to consider and label their emotions with greater accuracy. Labeling emotions for yourself and for others can help you find ways how to deal with it. Understanding the emotional displays of others give us clear information about how we might need to respond in a particular situation. For example, strict imo parents tapos ginagad ka sa imo friends nga mag-overnight sa beach. So, maglisensya ka, ginahulat mo danay nga ginapamatyagan mo nga mag-good mood ang imo parents antes ka maglisensya para pasugtan ka. So, the summary for this topic, quoted by Langley 2012. Next time you are preparing for a nerve-wracking meeting with a boss or have just had one, take a few moments to check in with your feelings. Consider the emotions that will be most effective for you and for others. Choose one or more of these actions to take charge of your emotions. So examine how emotions are related with each other. It also taught us how to manage emotions, especially when you interact with other people. We discussed that bottling your emotions up is not good for yourself, which means that we should learn how to release our emotions in healthy ways that will not hurt other people. For example, is sa mga nanay nyo nga makita ka mo ginapabayaan nyo inyong responsibilities, wala ka mo ga obra. So, mga kikita ninyo nanay to kung ano lang nahambal, mahambal ka mo, ginamisahan ka mo. So that is because nga kung i-battle up nilang ila emotions, dong ma-stress lang sila sa ila kaakig nga kung tago-tago lang nila. And that is all. Thank you.
So in summary, importante naton nga mabalaan kung ano ang aton nga nabatyagan. Kung balaan naton ang aton nabatyagan, balaan taman kung ano ang pwede maging actions naton. Kung akig ka, may tendency nga makahambal or makahimo ka sang malain that will lead you to disasters. Kung balaan ta ang nabatyagan ta, makahimo kita or makapangita kita sang way nga kung sa diin dira ta ma-release ang aton na feel or nabatyagan ta. It simply states nga pangita kita distractions nga maka-benefit sa imo emotions. Kag maka-benefit man sa iban nga sa palibot naton. So in dealing with your emotions, don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself some time and space. Accept all your emotions are valid. It is natural and understandable. Let yourself feel it, but don't live forever on it. And that's all about Lesson 4, Emotional Self, Achieving My Emotional Competencies. Thank you and God bless.